So you mentioned convention a couple times.
Sure.
What happens when somebody comes to convention? Somebody brand new gets voted as a county delegate. They go up to Ben Lomond High School for convention and they walk through the doors and see what?
Oh, a whole bunch. Probably first and foremost, they have to be credentialed, which means they get voted in at the precinct level. We take their name and we put it through our roster. And so when you come to convention, you have to present your ID and we mark that you are who you say you are. And that's to protect the integrity of the election system. We don't want somebody just coming in at will and saying, oh, well, I'm a delegate. Well, not everybody gets to have a ballot. It's very processed, and there's a process that we go through, which is especially important if you are a delegate and you are listening to this. If you can't serve for any reason, if you moved, if you don't want to be a delegate anymore, for whatever reason, if you can't be a delegate and you can't be at the convention, please let your leadership know so that we can replace you through a process so that we can make sure that we can have the most people available at those meetings.
Absolutely, because that's the hardest thing is when we go to convention, usually there's somebody that's not there, right? There's usually quite a few of them.
Yeah.
But what's sad is now those areas, those precincts that they were voted from have no representation in their votes. So it's absolutely vital that if you can't serve, let your precinct chair, let your ledge chair know, let somebody in the party know that you're moving so we can replace you. That's a great point. What do they see next?
Yeah, so they get credentialed. A lot of times they'll get a little name tag. They can get a packet. One thing that Weber County is leading the movement on is sequentially numbered paper ballots so that we can have election integrity. That's something that the executive committee has championed. And then they go into, a lot of times they'll go into this big common area where they meet the candidates. A lot of times candidates will have booths there and signs and flyers and it's a great time to come up and meet the candidate, have face-to-face, be able to ask them questions, and it's a wonderful time. A lot of times we give maybe an hour to two ish to meet with all the candidates before we move into the main portion of the convention.
That is always my favorite part of any convention is the meet the candidate part, because I always find that it's super exciting. People are super lively. Everybody's running around trying to get their last minute questions answered. And then it comes time, to essentially ring the bell to bring everybody into the auditorium for what?
And I remember, I just want to make this point. I remember the energy at our last convention.
Huge.
It was phenomenal. And I mean, we had so much to do at that convention, but I had a blast. Just the energy and just the pride of everybody there was fantastic.
We were excited. We're ready to work, right? We've got another one coming up very soon. We're going to do it again.
It's going to be incredible.
It's going to be great.
Once we move into the main portion of the meeting, that's where all the voting happens. There's the introductions and the pledge and the prayer and the plank and all that stuff. We adopt the agenda, and then we move into the elections. Each race will have the opportunity, each candidate in each race will have the opportunity to speak. That's where the convention rules come in that the County Central Committee authorizes, how long they get to speak for, those type of rules. But they get to speak, and then once everybody's done speaking, that's when the voting happens, and that's pretty much the climax of the convention.
Well, and you brought up, last time's convention. I know one thing that we learned from last time was we need to keep speeches moving, right? We don't want to have any downtime. We want to make sure that we're not there all day on a Saturday,
Sure.
right? We want to make it as short and sweet as we can.
The beginning is we do it as a county. So county commissions, county sheriffs, the organizing convention, it's the top four officers, all in the main portion. If there are resolutions to be presented, we discuss those and we talk about those. But once the county business has concluded, everything that we need to do together as a county is concluded, then we separate into individual legislative district caucuses. And each House district gets to meet, and typically it's 60, 70 delegates, in one room for each House district. But that's where the same thing, you get to have speeches, and then you get a vote. And once that's done, then you know, convention is over. I know last time we had an absolute blast, but I went home and I went to bed way early and I slept through the night. It was great because it was exhausting, but it was fantastic.